Just by reading the title of the video, am I not wrong? How's it going, guys? It is Plastic Disasta back with another review of the high-grade Universal Century Geara Doga, the Grunt Mobile Suit, and the Commander type from one of my favorite movies, Mobile Suit Gundam, Char's Counterattack. Now for this review, I'm going to do a double because I think it makes it easier for me than making two separate videos about them. But don't worry, I'll still talk about the difference between the both of them. So since I said this is a Grunt Mobile Suit, the blue one, however, is a Commander type like I already said. That one is piloted by Reginald Snyder, a side character in the movie. So taking a look at the box art, starting off with the regular version, this one's just firing its weapon, and while you got two more flying in the background, and for the other one, we have the Commander just leading the troops in the battlefield. Looking at this side of the box just shows off the weapons and the gimmicks of moving the mono eye from side to side, and for the regular version, you have the option to make it a Commander type as well. Moving on to this side of the box, it just shows the front and rear of the kit and a nice CG render. After cracking both boxes, they both each have 5 packs of runners and a manual. On the cover of the manuals, here is what the kit looks like when it's all put together and painted. Cracking open both manuals, here it is showing off the information, and right down there just showing the advertisement of other Char's Counterattack Gunpla. Taking the parts list, looking at the regular one, you're going to have a few leftover polycaps, and looking at the Reginald Snyder version, only the regular helmet gets excluded. So something tells me if you guys want to be funny and demote Reginald Snyder, you can. And looking at the back of the manuals, just showing off the action poses, the details, a familiar CG render, and a painting guide if you're planning on painting it. Starting off with Runner A, it's gonna be the multicolored runner, and I think I found a difference because the Reginald Snyder version, you have another effect part. Runner B, for the Reginald Snyder, we got more of that navy blue, and for the regular one, you have more of the military green. For Runner C, now the Reginald Snyder version, I know it looks black on camera, but it's actually very dark blue, and while you have the regular version in dark green. Runner D is going to be the gunmetal parts. Now this one on the left is the Reginald Snyder, and the one on the right is the regular version. Now spoiler alert, they both have different beam rifles and different hand options. 2 Runner E's, more of the gunmetal parts. And finally, polycap runners and a sticker sheet. And spoiler alert, this sticker is going to go onto the shield, while this one is going to go onto the eye. So that's going to be it for the unboxing. It is really interesting to see that there's not a lot of runners, and yet the mobile suit itself is really bulky. So I'm going to put this kit together, and I'll see you guys right after that. And here they are all put together. Now I did went ahead and do some work on the Reginald Snyder version just to show you what it looks like when it's painted versus unpainted. Now the only difference is if you want to do some detail work on the regular one, the only difference is that instead of painting the inside thrusters red, you do yellow. Now talking about the build overall of this kit, I'm just going to use the regular Geara Doga just to give you a 360 look. Overall, the build of this kit is actually pretty straightforward and is actually very easy to put together. Now even though I did say it's very bulky, but I'm really surprised how Bandai managed to use like kind of a bulky kit but use very little parts. The color separation and the engineering on this kit is kind of spot on, I'll give it that. Moving on to seam line coverage, there's one right over here on both shoulders, but this one right here, I think if you have like a sand sponge, that could like, you know, help out with like the curve areas. Moving on to the back, the only things you're gonna have to worry about is just this little seam line like right up here on the backpack, but at least you don't have to deal with one going right over here because it's already covered with this piece. Moving on to legs, this area could go as a detail, this part can go as a detail, it's just that you're going to have to deal with the ones that are down there. And moving on to the front of the leg, it's just this one you're going to have to deal with, and once again, this could go as a detail. And how could I forget, there is a seam line you have to deal with on the torso. I've already talked about the sticker placement during the unboxing portion. Now I'm going to jump right into the accessories. So for hand options with the regular Geara Doga, you have 2 weapon holding hands, and for the Resin Slider version, you have 1 open palm hand for the left side and a weapon holding hand for the right. And they both have a trigger finger hand for the right side as well, with 2 different beam rifles. Now, here's the difference. The Geara Doga one has more things going with it, because you have a secondary handle that can move side to side and a stock that moves back, while the Resin Slider version, well, it doesn't really do anything. And if you were to ask me which one do I like better, well, I kind of like the regular one better. Next up, you have its shield, which can fold forward and back, and you also have this adapter piece, which you can attach to the side of the arm or under the arm. And as you can see, the shield also comes with 4 of these stern files. It's kind of like their grenades. Except you have its melee weapon. Now you see this hole right there. That is where you can put in one of these effect parts, just like so. So it could be a little axe or this thing. And finally, you have the collapsed version of the melee weapon. Now, here's the difference. For the Resin Slider version, it comes with another effect part, which you can do this. It could go like a beam saber. And to store it, it goes onto the back skirt just like this. Finally, you have 2 of the alternate headpiece. Now, if you want to make this into a commander version, you could do that, and I already joked about demoting Resin Slider if you want to. Moving on with the articulation, the head is on a ball joint. My copy is a little tight, and you also have this neck movement which can move up. And if you have like a little toothpick or something, you can move the mono eye side to side. Moving on to the shoulder, it can swing forward and backwards. It can rotate. The shoulder pad is on a ball joint, and moving on to the other shoulder, this is on a ball joint and this is on a ball joint. The arm can swing up. Well, don't swing it too far up because it could pop off a little too easily, but it only goes up that far. Bicep rotation, bend at the elbow, slightly more than 90 degrees, and a ball joint on the wrist. You do get a ball joint on the waist, so you get some movement out of it. Front skirt can move up this far, the side skirt can move out just a bit, and it's just a tiny bit of swivel, and back skirt is in a fixed position. There's a ball joint on the thigh, so it does everything what a ball joint does, and you also get a little hip movement. Bend at the knee, just about 90 degrees, and moving on to the foot, it can swing forward this far and move back this far, and is also on a ball joint as well. Finally, moving on to the backpack, nothing really moves. Overall, the articulation on this kit is what I expect for an older model kit. And no, it doesn't mean it's bad. You can still pull off some decent poses even though it is limited in some areas. Moving on with size comparisons, here it is right next to the standard size RX-78-2, and as you can see, yeah, the Geara Dogas are on the taller side. Now I don't have my Sazabi with me because I'm too lazy to get it, but I have something just as good. Here it is right next to the entry grade New Gundam, and the New Gundam towers over these Geara Dogas. And since it's October, it's Villains Month, so here it is right next to Megatron and Lego Sinestro. And if only I have Ghidorah. That's gonna be it for the size comparisons. Let's move on to my final thoughts. Moving on to my final thoughts. Overall, they're pretty good kits and I think they age pretty well. Now what I forgot to tell you is my experience when it comes to detail painting. Overall, it is pretty easy, but the one thing that does throw me off a bit is painting the yellow symbol on the shield. Yes, it is a molded detail, but painting yellow on that shield, it kind of drives me crazy a bit, but I did manage to pull through. And I'm sure there are some builders that could do a much better job than I do. And some of you may ask, well, which one do I like better? The Resin Slider version or the regular version? Well, I do like them both, but if I had to pick one, maybe the regular one, but at the end of the day, it's all up to you. Get one or maybe get both. So that's gonna be it for the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. If you have any questions, concerns, comment down below, leave a like, and before I go, I did say it's October, which means it's Villains Month, so stay tuned for more villain mobile suits throughout this month, and I'll see you guys next video. Last year, I talked about what makes a mobile suit or a pilot very frightening. In the beginning of the video, I said it's pretty much a Zaku 2 on steroids, so I guess that idea is already scary enough. But I think for Regis Snyder, on the other hand, she is a hot-headed soldier who disobeyed orders. Do you guys find that scary? Let me know in the comments down below.